Welcome to the Real Success Podcast. Today we have Ryan Gillam from Gillam Lawncare Landscaping. How are you doing, Ryan?
Good.
Awesome. I appreciate you being on the show. So talk to me a little bit about your story. How did you get started with Gillam? What is that process like for you?
Yeah. Well, it was, I guess you would say it started out as a summer job. I had a close family friend. His name was Bob Knighty. And he had, I don't know, about 30 lawns that he kind of mowed on the side. He had a regular full-time job. And I was about 16 years old, and I think I was 15, and he needed some help. So I kind of spent 2 summers working alongside him, just mowing small residential lawns. And then actually that second year, I had my driver's license, so he pretty much just kind of turned me loose. I think he gave me about 20 lawns, and I would go mow them for him and use his trailer and his equipment, and I used my truck. And then he moved away. It was about I think it was about my junior year of high school. He moved to California, and so I was kind of out of a summer job. And there was just this one particular neighborhood, and I went and knocked on every single door that I used to mow and didn't get a single customer. But as I was doing that, I was knocking on other doors, and I knocked on this old man's door, and he told me he wasn't interested, that he had somebody. And I got to about the end of the driveway, and he said, well, how much would you charge me? And so I told him, and got my first customer in this little neighborhood, kind of off of High Street here in Springfield. I think I picked up 2 more jobs that first summer, and then going into my senior year, I just kind of picked up a couple more. And by the end of my senior year of high school, going into my freshman year of college, I had about 20 lawns in this neighborhood. So I was doing this all with a push mower. And my dad had a little trailer. It was my dad's push mower. Had a weed eater, and I was mowing about 20 lawns in this little neighborhood. So I went to Wright State. Ended up getting my degree in accounting from Wright State. And just as I was in school, just every year I'd pick up more and more. And then I went and I bought my, I guess between my freshman year of college and my sophomore year of college, I ended up buying a 48-inch walk behind. Took my dad with me to get it. And on the way there, he did everything he could do to talk me out of it. I remember him saying, Ryan, if cutting grass was that great, everybody would be doing it. And I had saved up just enough money. I used to know to the penny, but it was like $22,600 and some change. And he just couldn't stand the fact that I was going to spend every dime I had buying this mower. So it was a pistol grip walk behind, and I had never ran one. The guy I had worked before was kind of like a T-bar. And so I said to my dad when we went, I said, now let them load this in the trailer, Dad. I said, because I've never ran this before, and I don't want to look like an idiot. And so I think he was a little nervous for me that first day. So he went with me, and he kind of helped me that day. He would run the push mower, a little bit here and there. And we got back home about, 7, 8 o'clock that night. It was dark. I had to go back to school. And he said, you needed that mower, Ryan. I said, I know, I've been telling you that. So from there, just kind of became a snowball. I just kind of picked up more and more. And by the time I was done, it actually took me an extra year to get through school, because I became busy and kind of started putting classes off and, getting a lighter schedule so that I could work, and was doing snow removal in the wintertime. And, I'd be out till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and finish up plowing snow, and I'd head to school for class at 9 o'clock in the morning. And so I eventually finished my degree. By the time I was done, I had a couple trucks I had to pay for, and so I kind of liked what I was doing, and I think it suited my personality better than being an accountant. So I just continued to grow the business from there.
Yeah, awesome. How has the vision kind of changed over the years? I mean, it started out with just you, I would assume.
Yep.
And then now it's, a large team from my understanding.
Yeah. So we've got a full-time year-round staff, including our office staff. I think there's about 10 of us. And then we get migrant workers. They come on an H-2B visa. So we get 22 of those guys. They're here now. Some of them are here. Some of them are going to be here this week. They stay for 9 months. And then, of course, we bring on a few extra guys. As a matter of fact, we're really in the process. We really need to hire about 5 more full-time year-round workers. So yeah, I mean, that's, it started out, it was just me, and then I, would bring on a guy or two. I actually still have one guy that's been with me for over 20 years now, my longest tenured employee. He's great. So yeah, it's kind of evolved over the years. It was, I guess, more about me in the beginning, and now I get a lot of satisfaction out of seeing my employees, being able to provide good jobs, good paying jobs with benefits and things like that. And we're just continuing to grow, and we're trying to put together, the last year I've been working with my general manager and trying to put an aggressive growth plan together.
Yeah.
So.
What's the dream? Where do you see Gillam going to?
Well, I don't know how much of that I want to
Sure,
share.
that's
I
fine.
guess
That's fine.
I mean, I've got a dollar figure in mind, and that's kind of where we're at. We've got a 5-year plan and a 10-year plan. So
Yeah.
So yeah, we're in the process now of trying to bring on what we're going to call an account manager that's going to kind of be in charge of all of our sales and maintaining our relationships with our customers, so that I can not work in the business as much, but work on the business so that we can reach our goals.
Yeah. What are some of the services? Like, obviously, lawn care, but what does some of that look like?
Yeah. Well, we pretty much do it all. We do, we mow and trim. We do fertilizing, weed control, a lot of landscape maintenance, a lot of landscape install and hardscapes. Our hardscape foreman is, I say he's the best in the county, and I really believe that. I know there's some other good guys out there, but we do exceptional work when it comes to the hardscapes and those fine details. But I would say we're a maintenance company. I mean, that's kind of who we are. We're certainly trying to grow that landscape install and that hardscape because we're good at it, and I like that. I like doing the design. I do all of our designs. That's probably my favorite thing that I do is design hardscapes and outdoor spaces. But I mean, that's just in my fiber. I guess I'm a grass cutter. That's just kind of who I am, and that's how I got started. And I can if there was a guy outside running a weed eater, I could tell you if he was running it right just by the sound of the engine. So we do an awful lot of mowing. I don't even know how many accounts we have. We do a lot of residential customers, which is kind of our niche, I think. And we're able to be very competitive because we've got very dense routes. So, we're able to, most of the time, and same thing with our fertilizing and weed control guys, we're able to stop and usually knock out 2, 3, sometimes even 4 customers in one stop. So we're able to be very competitive that way because we don't have a lot of windshield time.
Yeah.
And at 25 years of experience, I've figured out, people will say, well, you can't make money cutting grass. And it is difficult, but you've got to have a lot of it, and you've got to have dense routes, and you've got to be efficient at it. And we've figured out how to do that.
So kind of going into my next question, with serving so many clients, how have you been able to maintain quality while also being able to scale the business?
Well, I always tell people we're not perfect. We're going to mess up. We might hit your light pole, but we're not perfect, but we will make it right. I always tell people if we damage something or we break something, we're going to fix it. We're going to make it right. But that being said, we have a good culture. It's not always been that way. It's been difficult. Getting guys that want to buy in and come to work every day, do a good job, live up to our standards. And our guys that we have, I believe they believe in what we're doing. We try to pay them well, and we try to incentivize them to do a good job. And we've kind of created that culture now to where, our guys, they don't want guys that don't fit that.
Yeah.
We found that to where it's like, I don't want him because he misses one day of work. So I don't want him on my. I'd just rather not have it. So just kind of getting guys to buy into that. And like I said, that's not easy. It's difficult. But you've got to stick to your guns, and you've got to say, this is the way we're going to do things. And I think, we don't get a lot of people coming in, and we don't have a lot of turnover anymore. We just don't. I think we have this reputation now that if you come and you work for Gillam, you're going to work. You're going to, you're not going to take smoke breaks every 15 minutes. You're not going to sit in the truck, and you're not going to take the long way to the job. You're going to get to the job. You're going to do a good job, and you're going to move on to the next one. And our guys take a lot of pride in their work. I think, we've been voted Clark County's or Springfield by the Chamber of Commerce. We've been voted best of the best 7 out of the last 8 years. And I think our guys take a lot of pride in that. I think they like saying that they work for Gillam because I believe that we have we've got a good name recognition, a good brand. And I think our guys take pride in that. And they take some ownership in it. And I want them to, and they should, because they're responsible for it.
Yeah.
I don't. I like to think that I'm quick to give them the credit for it. My fertilizing guy, he's been with me for 7 or 8 years, maybe even longer. He does an excellent job, and there's as an owner, there's a lot of. It's reassuring to know that I've got guys like that I don't have to go out and babysit. I've got an excellent general manager that does a great job of, getting those guys, making them stay productive. But I just think that they know we're in business to make money, and they want to make money, and they know the better that the business does, the better that they can do.
That's awesome. Personally, how does that feel to build something that's bigger than just you?
Yeah.
And not even just bigger than you, because like let's just use Ray Kroc doesn't care that he has so many employees, whatever.
Yeah.
But the ones to build people that care and that they want to build the same vision that you have.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I think to do that, you have to care. You have to care about your people. And I do. I mean, I do. I think, and that's one thing that's, I guess, is tough about being a business owner is, I don't just worry about my family. I worry about my guys' families. Mm-hmm. And that's a responsibility that I don't take lightly. I want to see them successful. I want to see them be able to provide for their kids. Their kids have good Christmases and good birthdays, and have vacation time, and be able to not miss baseball games and softball games and soccer games. So that's important. And I think, I like to believe that our guys believe me when I say that. One thing that's, I think one of the greatest characteristics a person can have is loyalty. And so, I'm very loyal to my guys, and I believe they're very, very loyal to me as well.
Awesome. You talked about a couple of challenges you've overcome. Mm-hmm. What would you say has been the biggest challenge of Gillam, whether it's growing the business, just the trends in the industry? Mm-hmm. What does that look like?
Well, it's employees. Like I say, I think we've got a very good culture now. It's not always been that way. And it's been tough because, I've always tried to be good to my people, and there's a fine line between being good to them and them taking advantage of you. And that's a real thing. And I've had that happen. I feel like there was a period of time when, we ran a lawn care business Monday through Friday and a free rental business Saturday and Sunday. There wasn't a weekend that went by that I didn't have 3 employees calling, "Hey, can I borrow this? Can I borrow that? Can I borrow this?" And it's just kind of like, I want to help you, but we're in business to make money. So, and then they become very short-minded. It's almost like, what have you done for me lately? So just creating that culture to where we're all in this together. So that's been the biggest challenge, and it's almost like you have to draw the line, and you got to say, this is what we're going to do. And if you're not on board with it, you're going to come to work every day of the week. You're not going to call off. You're not going to take 5 smoke breaks a day, on the job site, sitting in the truck, on the clock, and just creating that culture. And I think we've done a good job of that.
Awesome.
And my general manager has played a major role in that. As a matter of fact, he's been with me now, I want to say 8 years. And when he came on, I have one guy that was here, two guys that were here with me before. It was kind of a situation, even when he came on, he would, we had one particular guy that every day he would leave our shop and he would stop at his house first. And he'd spend 30 minutes at his house on the clock. And my general manager said, you're not going to do that anymore. He said, well, yes, I am. He said, no, you're not. He said, if you do it again, you're fired. We did it again. And when he said, you're fired. And the guy comes, he said, well, I'm going to go talk to Ryan. He comes to me, he said, well, he fired me. I said, well, you're fired then. So it's tough, but you've got to. And our guys now, like, that's what they want too. They want to do a good job, and they want to come to work and put in a good day's work, and they don't want to work with guys that don't have that same work ethic.
Yeah, I mean that is a perfect case of being an entrepreneur and putting the right people in the right places.
And I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
I hear it all the time. I talk to a lot of lawn care guys, here in Springfield, and it's all the same story. And I hear them talk about their problems. And I'm just like, yeah, I've been there. I've been there. And I can remember just being absolutely miserable. Like, just, it was more of I considered myself more of a babysitter. So it takes time, it takes work, and you've got to stick to your guns, and you've just got to say, listen, this is the company we want to be. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine. This just isn't the place for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you get a group of guys that buy in, you can do great things. And that's kind of where I think we are.
Yeah. Well, it's like one of the things, like, your employees should be a investment, not an expense.
Mm-hmm.
And having that, I mean, I think it's a very difficult thing to do, because you do have to, I mean, you need employees immediately, so you kind of take whoever's willing, and then it's like, okay, let's fine tune this, and there is a long cycle.
And what we do is it's difficult too, because it's seasonal. Mm-hmm. So it's we do snow removal in the wintertime, which is one of the main reasons we have to keep guys on staff all winter long. But it's hard, and this is where our H-2B workers fit in nicely, because we need 25 guys in the season, but I can't keep, or 25 extra guys, additional guys throughout the season. I can't keep all those guys busy during the wintertime. So it is difficult to find American workers to say, hey, I've got a job for you for 8 months out of the year, and then the other 4 months you've got to go on unemployment. And we did that for a long time, and that's difficult because it's just constant turnover. It's like, well, when I get laid off, I'm going to go get another job, because most people they can't afford to only work 8 months out of the year. So that's where our H-2B workers come in, and they've been just phenomenal. We get the same guys every year. They bust their tails.
Awesome. They
bust their tails, and they're great men, family guys. We've got, out of the 22 guys, it's about 3 or 4 different families. I've got a dad, his son, his nephew, and a son-in-law. And then I've got a couple brothers and a couple cousins. And so, and those guys really, they kind of take care of themselves too. If there's a problem there, they tend to work it out amongst themselves. But I mean, you talk about guys that'll put in the time, they do it.
That is awesome.
Yeah. And they're good to me. I've been, one of them told me I'm his kid's godfather. I've been invited to weddings, birthday parties, baptisms in Mexico. I've not ever been able to make it. I actually talked to Jeremy Hudson over there at Fellowship a couple years ago. I had some guys that they had invited me for it was going to be a baptism, and they told me they wanted me to be the godfather. So I talked to Jeremy Hudson about traveling over there and going to see him. And so someday that's a goal of mine, is I would like to take my wife over there and go visit a couple of the different families and see how they live, and I'm sure they would. They would take great care of me too.
That's awesome.
So
I love, like, again, back to the investment. Not only is it you are investing in them, and that's so cool. I love to see stories like that where it's grown just from. Well,
the first year we got them, and my wife was scared, and our office is right there where our house is. We're on about 6 acres, so it's within walking distance from my office to the house, and out to the barns where all the guys are. And so, she was nervous. We got all these guys coming. We don't know them. We don't know anything about them. And that end of that season when they left, my wife cried. And I tell you, it's, and there's even times when I've gotten emotional about it because like you see them come and I see how hard they work for 8-9 months. And when I say hard, I'm talking 50, 60 hours a week. And they want to do that, because otherwise they don't have anything else to do. They don't have wife and kids here. They don't have soccer games to go to, which makes it nice for American workers because, we don't ask those guys to work many Saturdays, many weekends, because we've got a list of H2B guys that are volunteering to work. So it really helps provide better jobs. And we're able to do a lot more work with those guys, enables us to provide benefits and vacation time. And, if they need a day off, we're able to get it covered. So they've been fantastic, and, they're just good people.
That is awesome. Talk to me a little bit about like some of the new technology that you've seen in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've seen, I think it's Husqvarna, the like lawnmower, like Roombas.
The autonomous mowers.
I've seen those, but what else is kind of emerging in the technology?
From the autonomous mower, from a small, if you're a small residential person, because we've looked into that. And it's kind of expensive right now to get into, but there's, if you maybe have a little 10,000 square feet of turf and you wanted to get one of those, I think that might work. There's not a lot of it out there, so I just don't really know. We use a mower, the brand that we use is called Wright, WRIGHT, Wright Manufacturing. And they're really at the forefront of it. And I would say that within the next 5 years, I think there's going to be a mower that kind of like farmers, like it's GPS to where you can go and you can outline the lawn, basically outline everything with your mower. You've got to get on it, make a pass around it, and then you'll be able to hop off the mower, and that mower will continue to mow the lawn, and then that guy can then start trimming. So he can trim and he can blow everything off, and then the mower finishes up and he puts the mower on the truck. So I think that's happening, and Wright is really working hard on that, and so I think we'll see that here in the near future.
If you had to guess, how long do you think it would be? And this is such a hypothetical question, so excuse that. But how long do you think it would be until the lawn care companies have one person really on a site, the mower doing everything, and then they're just kind of customer relations doing everything?
Well, yeah, I think that's exactly what this will be, and I would say probably within the next 5 years. And I don't know that.
Sure.
Ed Wright, he would be the one, he could answer that. But I mean, he's all the time posting YouTube videos of this mower with nobody on it out in a big field. And I think some airports are looking into that, where you've got big, wide open spaces.
It's in a lot of golf courses.
Yeah.
A lot of golf courses.
Something like that. I think there's a liability aspect, if you're not on that mower and that mower hits somebody, like.
Yeah, that's not quite, it's not as much as a Roomba hitting your toes.
That's right. That's right. But I think the technology is there, and we'll probably start seeing that here in the coming years. And again, I think it's going to be a situation just like, like I was saying, where an operator's got to have to be present. Mm-hmm. He may not necessarily have to be on the mower, but it would be nice to where, I could have a guy pull in and he could make one pass around the yard, hop off, and he could start trimming. And, we're kind of knocking two things out at the same time. So, it's coming.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
Yeah, but I think more so on the technology side is just like the different software programs. We are right there with them. Like, we've got GPSs on our trucks. We've got time tracking systems that send GPS signals every time the guys punch in and punch out. The scheduling software, the estimating software. You got Google Earth, but this is like Google Earth on steroids, and you can go in and you can see everything and outline landscape beds and measure and not even have to go to the site. And like our fertilizing, my secretary does all of our fertilizing estimates. It's all based off of square footage, and she can just pull it up and she can measure it off and plug in the number, and it's done. and there's some pretty cool landscape design software programs too.
Yeah.
3D. I mean, you can do 3D designs that you would think are an actual picture of the house.
That's insane.
So that, yeah, it's very nice.
Awesome. Talk to me about some advice you have for other entrepreneurs. I mean, specifically in the landscape industry, landscape industry, but also just in general.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a lot of work, and you've got to be willing to put in the work. When I started, again, I was in college. I didn't have a family I had to support. I was able to basically take every penny I made and I reinvested it back in my business. And I did that for a long, long, long time. So of course, as we grow now, it's, I think it's a little bit easier now too, because we've already got some credit and things like that built up. But you got to be willing to put in the work. Everybody wants to make a lot of money, but not everybody wants to put in the work. And I can tell you, I've put in the work.
Yeah.
From when I was in school, coming home from school at, after class at 11 o'clock and going back home at dark. I can remember living in an apartment up at Wright State and coming in on a Saturday night, just filthy dirty, and my roommates were heading out to go party. And I had a buddy from high school that said to me, he said, well, you missed out on a lot. You didn't get to have as much fun as we all did. Well, maybe so, but I'm looking forward to not having to work till I'm 70 also. So
there's a beautiful quote. I reference it all the time. Live your life like others don't, so you can live your life like others don't. I think I've actually said it in this podcast because I love it so much because I have a very similar story to that. I mean, it's beating the pavement.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of work, and it's just being fair with people too. I think I don't want to take advantage of anybody, and I don't want to be taken advantage of either. And a good deal is something that's fair for both people, and I feel like we try to do that. If you can't afford it, then I don't want to sell you something you can't afford. And if I can't make money on it, I always tell people if I get somebody that tries to beat me up and I've got so and so that I'll do it for less. My response is typically, well, I would rather them do it and not make money than me do it and not make money.
Yeah.
So I've got two kids, especially when they were little. Like I'd rather stay home and play with my kids than go out and lose money. Like I work too hard to do that. So
yeah, I mean, I get this. Everyone has their nephew with a camera,
mm-hmm.
and it's very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Similar regard there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, you see it all the time with, in the lawn care, people driving around with a push mower in the back of their truck, and listen, that's how I started out. So there's nothing wrong with that. That's how I started out, and so. How
do you think the best way is to get work in the lawn care industry? Is it door knocking? Is that the tried and true?
Mine has been word of mouth. We have not done a great job of advertising. We have done very little of it. Our website hasn't always been great. As a matter of fact, we're in the process of getting it redone. I think it actually just went live about 2 weeks ago. But just word of mouth, that's what we've done. Doing a good job, and then somebody needs you, and I would say our biggest advertising is our trucks. There's typically not a week that goes by that I don't have somebody say to me, "I saw one of your trucks this week." So I like hearing that.
Yeah.
And we take a lot of pride in keeping our trucks and equipment looking nice, and so I would say that's been our biggest advertisement. But things have changed so much now with social media. Like social media, in my opinion, that's where it's at. Everybody's on Facebook. I'm a Facebook shopper. Maybe not everybody is, but social media is. I think that's where it's at.
Yeah, that's where I hear a lot of people say exactly what you say. Like word of mouth is is how we get all of our business. And honestly, it's the exact same thing for me. And so again, people will say, "Oh, well, we don't need video." What's your best way to get business? Oh, with the word of mouth. What if we could explode word of mouth? We're not necessarily just having people say, call here, call here, call here. It's not necessarily like that, but are consistently showing up,
Yeah.
they're telling their friends, oh, well, I saw Gillams on Facebook.
Yeah.
I keep seeing them. Call them.
Well, and I think that's kind of how we've been with our trucks.
Yeah.
You know, you see a Gillam truck, every week going down your road, and you may not think anything about it until it could be 2-3 years later, and it's like, you know what, I want to redo the front of my house. Who am I going to call? Oh, I'm going to call Gillam because I see their truck every week. And a lot of times it's just subconscious. But when I started, there was no social media. There was no, Facebook. That just wasn't a thing. There was the phone book. I can remember advertising in the phone book.
Oh, wow.
I can remember taking out quarter pages in the phone book and newspaper ads. And, I don't even think there is a phone book anymore.
I do not think so.
But I used to advertise in the phone book because, if you needed a lawn care, whatever you needed, you went to the phone book and you looked it up. That's really, social media has changed things.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, sweet. Now let's kind of dive into some rapid fire questions. Now these are just super, really quick, to the point. So I'll have them here just a little bit. So what is one tool or piece of equipment that you cannot live without?
Well, I don't know. One would be that's tough because we're not getting to the job without our truck.
Fair.
And we're not gonna be able to do the job without a mower or the tools. Obviously we have to have the trucks and the tools and the equipment. But I would go back to our software programs that we use. We have a software program that, I don't know if it's scary or what, because if that thing went down, like we would cease to operate. We've got a pretty fancy software program that does everything for us. From our, it's our CRM. It creates, we create our estimates in it. We do our job costing in it. We do our scheduling in it. Our guys we track their time through it, so we do our payroll through it. So, that technology that you kind of were talking about, that's a big deal for us.
Yeah, absolutely. When is the best time for, ideally more so of a homeowner, but really anyone, to start a landscape project? Like what time of year?
Well, with landscaping projects, you can really do them any time of the year, as long as the ground's not frozen. And we stay busy, all winter long. We've had a couple hardscape projects that we've tried to work on throughout the winter. It's been tough this winter because we've had more snow than usual. But when it's not been snowing, we've had guys out doing hardscape projects. So, as far as that goes, I think a lot of that also depends on what the homeowner's capabilities are as far as maintenance. We can plant in July and August, but you're going to have to make sure you can water in July and August. You got to water new plants anyways, whether it's April or May, but the watering burden and the maintenance burden is a little less in the earlier months. But fall's a great time to plant trees and shrubs. That's probably, fall's the ideal time for lawn seedings. We do a lot in the spring, but every year I say I don't want to seed lawns in April and May.
Oh, I've been waiting to seed mine until April and May.
Yeah, it's just it's a ground temperature thing, and the weather gets nice, and you think because it's cooler out or it's warmer out in April that you can plant grass seed, but ground temperatures are still colder, and we tend to get heavier rains and washout, and then you tend to be fighting weeds also. Yeah. Weeds are germinating. So we just have much better success seeding in the fall. But, if you build a new house and, you don't want to look at mud all year long either.
True.
So
what is your ideal outdoor living space? Like, what does that look like for you? Is it a grill in one corner, a hot tub in the other? What's that look like?
Yeah, well, I love outdoor spaces. COVID, swimming pools became a big deal.
Really?
Yeah. You couldn't hardly, you were waiting months to get swimming pools put in because people couldn't go anywhere. Yeah. So it's like, well, we're going to put a swimming pool in our backyard. I have a hot tub. We got one 2 weeks before the Super Bowl in I guess it would have been in 24. And my wife and I get in it just about every night. So and you either love them or you hate them. Outdoor kitchens, that's nice. Just that outdoor entertaining area. I'll tell you another big thing that's really, really nice is synthetic turf, especially around swimming pools, so you're not getting grass in your swimming pool, and it just creates another area to sunbathe. So fire pits,
Yeah.
Fire and water. Everybody likes the sound of water, and they like the comfort and coziness of a fire.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, sweet. How can people get a hold of you and hear a little bit more about your story, get in contact if they're ready to hire you? What's that look like? Yeah.
Well, we've obviously we got a Facebook page. We've got a website, and it's www.gillamlawncare.com. You can look us up on Facebook as well. Obviously, call our office, which is the best way, I think. Just our office numbers, area code 937-568-0072. I've got a great office staff, extremely friendly. They work hard, and they follow through. If they tell you they're going to call you back, they're going to call you back. If they tell you they're going to get me a message, they get me the message. So yeah, one of those things. Website, you can go on there. You can fill out an inquiry, and we'll get a notification, and we'll get right back with you. Or look us up on Facebook. We got Facebook Messenger, or just call the office.
Wonderful. Thanks for being on the show, man.
All right. I appreciate it. Nice meeting you.
Same to you.